Holler if you hear me, and welcome to this week's edition of Luke Sketches because, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. It is interesting to see the reactions to Madame Web, since it looks like Sony now wants to get in on the action that Marvel Studios has started. Even though it was Sony that really validated Marvel in the Hollywood with the success of the first Spider-Man movie, after that building up, and in the wake of the Spider-Man 3 coming and then going like a wet fart at the box office, that was when the MCU began and started building up steam and getting so successful and really, really building up and exploding the big hype around superhero movies. Ever since then, it feels like that we've got our friends at Sony trying to play catch up with them. And since Disney has been collapsing the MCU into death by social justice garbage, it seems that now we've got Sony going out of their way to try and do that with their own idea of an unwatchable streaming series with the likes of Madame Web and its trailer getting the kind of ridicule usually reserved for whenever MCU brainwashed idiots online try to go and badger the Amazing Spider-Man and its sequel like some kind of abomination against nature, while completely ignoring the same glaring fucking flaws and failure and corporate greed-motivated creative decisions that happen exactly also over at Disney, but we're not allowed to talk about that. It's almost as if we're only ever allowed to have the mainstream press criticize any kind of Marvel production if it's something that isn't under the iron boot of that Jonestown cult known as Disney. Just take a good look at some of the mainstream outlets that are joining in on the nerd-rotic and geeks and gamers style ridicule of Madame Web and its first trailer, where Forbes and The Guardian and even a left-wing leading parasitic third-tier garbage site like The Escapist, which is closing down any day now and pining for the days of the old nostalgia of when they had Movie Bob on their platform. Yeah, even they are now all taking turns bashing this and bashing this well. But remember, it's Hollywood, and we're allowed in the mainstream to hear criticism from these Marvel productions if it's not something that's going to go be produced by the likes of Bob Iger. If it's not involving the Mouse House in some way, it's going to fall already, because preemptively this mainstream media or press already, when it comes to movie productions, and specifically when it comes to Marvel productions, are not just allowed to despise something that is a Marvel production if it has Sony's name on it, but if anything, they're outright encouraged. Hence all of the mostly escapist-style frustration at how financially successful the Venom movie and its sequel was, despite all the homunculi in mainstream media belittling it and thinking that that somehow is going to stop people. If anything, that was one of the earliest examples when it came to modern Hollywood movies of how what film critics have to say absolutely positively does not matter, even though it's agenda-fueled drivel. Yeah, we're going to go and like the movies we want to like, and hell, we liked Venom, and we went to go see Venom over and over and over again, and we'll continue to see Venom over and over and over again. And there isn't a single thing that the Disney worshippers can ever do about it, except make all of you go read till your voices collapse at the box office. And all the and that's even before we get into what the actual content of this ridiculous production is. Because if you would think that this was gonna get a different treatment, it is only because it gets a different treatment by your buddies over there at The Escapist or The Guardian, because it's not done by Disney. It looks exactly as insipid, as self-absorbed, as full of girl boss trash as we get from anything involving Disney. This looks no different from what we saw with She-Hulk or Miss Marvel, which is actually going to be getting a second season in spite of how much money that Disney has been hemorrhaging over the Marvels, because remember, these days these studios will die with the lie. Okay? They will go down into flames, no different from Jonestown. These are the kind of people where, knowing Bob Iger and knowing the investor that's trying to get in and take over Disney from him, they probably will wind up doing that Jonestown little demonstration, if you know what I mean, then let Bob Iger lose his seat of power over at Disney. Oh, especially if it comes to somebody who wants to invest in the company to make it, actually make money instead of be a Chinese-funded little paragon of anti-American social engineering. And it's no different from Madame Web, where we've got a group of 80-pound inclusivity hires with the acting range of paper footballs and the expressive ranges of styrofoam cups, who apparently are completely allergic to actually wearing any kind of, comic book accurate uniforms. Instead, we have to dress them up like insipid wannabe girl bosses that you see as diversity hires in fast food commercials these days. And then you'll wonder why none of this is getting anything but ridicule. This is the kind of garbage that is making Morbius look like a great, brilliant piece of entertainment. And may I remind you that the only thing people remember about Morbius is a walking, talking Power Rangers pop culture reference that got turned into a meme overnight about how it's Morbin time. And Madame Web appears to have its own equivalent to It's Morbin Time, with the brilliant, completely emotive, completely super talented, completely unparalleled in acting of this day, Dakota Johnson. You remember Dakota Johnson, the woman whose best performance was one scene in The Social Network where the only memorable thing about her scene is her ass hanging out of her Stanford panties with Justin Timberlake. And how, oh yeah, there's also the 50 Shades of Grey movies she was in, where I'm pretty sure that the different sort of BDSM items she was being made to receive had more emotive range than any of her actual moments in the whole movie. But that's already something we know to be self-evident. Basically, the difference is that she's Kristen Stewart, but because Dakota Johnson had famous parents that will let her walk into the Hollywood scene, she didn't have to go and be subjected to all the little Epsteins around Hollywood in order to maintain a career. And then when she got too old for those producers to want her anymore, then she went full-on drug addict, a Home Depot shopper who won't shut up about her imaginary sexual preference because that's the only way she can get her name out there in the limelight anymore. Luckily, with somebody who is just as bad an actress as Kristen Stewart in Twilight, she doesn't have to go through that, so she can go around and continue to get major roles and, well, quote-unquote major roles and stuff like this, even though she pretty much is the grandmaster in the imitation of the post-Scarlett Johansson method of Hollywood starlets to whom their idea of acting consists of nothing more than vacant stares and monotone line readings. And speaking of vacant stares and monotone line readings compensated for by having the right kind of TNA that you're willing to show off to producers, we've also got Sydney Sweeney involved in this production. But if you would believe that this is a post-2016 superhero production with an attractive actress in a central role, and that they're going to do everything they can to make her look as ugly and dowdy as possible because all these studios have been infiltrated by in severe post-third wave feminist, anti-beauty, anti-femininity feminists who want any woman that reminds them of the girls that actually got dates in high school that they never could. Yeah, expect to see Sydney Sweeney now doing everything she can to bind her breasts down and put on the biggest glasses and get the most unflattering dye job possible. And in this trailer, all we see of her and what we actually know her to be, Hollywood's new Scarlett Johansson, as in a talentless, brain-dead ditz, who, well, luckily has the right kind of jugs and the right kind of blonde hair, blue-eyed look that producers like to go get on the casting couch, and she'll gladly oblige them on the casting couch, and at least until she gets too old for the casting couch, then she'll pretend that she was some kind of hapless victim, and now she's speaking out when no, she was nothing more than a prostitute who now got too old to turn a trick anymore, so now she's pretending to be a victim. Paging OAH there. And well, yeah, these women, all of the women in these movies, although they're not really women, they're just nothing more than check boxes being filled out. It turns out that, well, when you take a good look at all of them, they are absolutely positively, they are as much a group of strong, independent girl bosses in the same way that Jamie Lee Curtis has a royal title. Getting it by boning the right dude. All right there, babe? Madame Web, with its gaggle of 80-pound actresses who all fill out the right inclusivity checkboxes, but really is built around either an actress who has all the right connections to her family to get herself unwarranted leading roles in Hollywood, or an actress who is nothing more than TNA with the range of a wet carrot, but will continue to be forced down your throats whether you like it or not. And well, maybe in this day and age of Hollywood, the best she'll do is she'll go hypocritically do all kinds of roles where she'll make herself look as dowdy as possible and tweet about how bad the patriarchy is. And then you look at her at premieres or on talk shows or her Instagram feed, and the lady can't stop swinging her jugs in your face like she's some playmate from 1987. And we're supposed to not notice the cognitive dissonance on that. But yeah, sorry, we noticed for all the talk about how this is all of Hollywood doing everything it can to be new and go against the grain. This is no different at all from everything else that's been done in Hollywood, which is all just a bunch of drivel of women getting advantages they didn't earn based off of their family name or based off of some casting couch favors, and all in the name of worshiping at the altar of affluent, powerful white dudes and the whims of their genitalia. And also that for the audiences, the 18 to 25-year-old male and their genitalia, which are the people, the audience goers that actually have money. And it's not my opinion. I know I'm right. I want to thank you all for watching. Remember to subscribe so my channel reaches 10,000 subscribers. Don't forget to also become a channel member today, and you can you can also go and follow the link to my art store with the second link in the description below, where my color art is 30, my pen and ink art is 25, my sketchbooks are 25, my trading cards are 20, color commissions are 60, pen and ink commissions are 50, and trading card commissions are only 20. You can also go and donate my store. Donations are the very first thing you see there. Any denomination is accepted from around the world, and even the minimum donation is appreciated because when you donate, that money goes directly to me. And if you want to buy my work or commission me from outside of America, all you have to do is add up what you want in US dollars. We include another 25 US for the international shipping and handling fee, and your items will ship immediately. So until then, remember, felines, slam it, lick it, suck it, and see you, Space Cowboy.